Hello, this is Deacon Hector Ortiz. Today is Thursday, March 26. I just came back from running probably 45 minutes ago. And it was one of those days where I really didn't want to go running, but I thought that for my sake, I should do it. So when I went running, I struggled the entire time. I ran for 30 minutes. I still ran for 3 miles, but it was a painful 3 miles. I probably could have stopped at the first mile because I was tired. I didn't want to keep going. But I pushed myself to finish running, and I told myself, let me run for at least 30 minutes. And after that, I'm gonna stop, no matter where I am. And sure enough, I was able to struggle through it, but I ran my 3 miles. The reason I'm talking to you about that is because that's the way it is with prayer sometimes. There are times when we don't want to pray. We don't have the energy to pray, we are tired, or maybe we are disappointed on things that are happening in our life, or we don't think that the prayer is helping us. And I go through those struggles myself. And it is when I'm struggling with my prayer that I try to pray more. There was a class that I took during my diaconate formation on discernment of spirit by St. Ignatius. He wrote 14 rules, and rule number 6 talks about being intense in times of desolation. What that means is that in life, every day, you are in consolation or desolation, and we're talking about a spiritual consolation and a spiritual desolation. When you are in a spiritual consolation, everything that increases your faith and brings you closer to God falls into that category, onto the spiritual consolation. And everything that pushes you away from God and decreases your faith is a spiritual desolation. And all of us, at some point or another, have what we call dry prayer. Basically, we don't feel like praying. And running today reminded me of those struggles that I have sometimes. But when I finish running, I also realized that it is the same way with prayer. That there are times that I don't want to pray. There are times that I don't want to go to adoration or go to Mass. But I do it. And what St. Ignatius says on that rule number 6 about being intentional when in desolation is that when you are having struggles with your faith and with your prayer, those are the times that you need to pray more. Those are the times that you need to meditate more. Those are the times that you need to examine your spiritual life. And also, it's a time where you push a little extra harder. For example, today when I finished running my 30 minutes, I decided that I wasn't going to stop on 30. I was going to go to 31 minutes, just so I can overcome that desire to stop at the 30-minute mark. The same thing with prayer. If you are praying and you're hearing a little voice saying, hey, stop praying now, why don't you pray an extra prayer or pray for an additional 30 seconds? In that way, you're pushing yourself to go further during your time of desolation. And the reasoning behind that is that if we push a little harder, then we can feel that we have overcome the spiritual desolation in our life, and we can get back into a spiritual consolation. That is particularly important when we are struggling with our prayer, but it's also a way to make us feel good if we are able to push over what we said that we weren't going to do. So I encourage you, and I pray that when you are struggling with your faith and with your prayer, that you actually push yourself harder to pray more, even if it's an extra Hail Mary, maybe one Our Father, or maybe just, meditating more, or just thinking about your day a little longer, about where you are with your spiritual life. If you do that, the Lord will give with you, and will give you the strength to continue moving forward, even when you are struggling and you don't want to do the prayers that you require to get closer to Him. May God bless you. Have a wonderful day.